2015. John Dvorak, the Rice County Fair Manager, is in the studio and he's smiling yet, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, but it's kind of sad to see it go, but I guess it ran its course, and now it's on, and think of something bigger and better for next year.
It's fun setting it up, getting everything you're anticipating in the fair. And granted, part of you maybe is a little happy it's over because it is a busy week and you're running around and all the activity. But boy, it is discouraging when you head out there Monday and we were tearing things down. And it's amazing how fast things can disappear.
It is. It's just, as fast as it appears, it goes even faster to disappear. And, it's on to the next one for the carnival, and it's on to the next one for all the vendors. And it's a big cleanup process now. We'll get everything cleaned up, and here in a week or two, you'll never know anything happened.
Well, here in just a few days, you start having fair board meetings again, as long as everything at the fair is fresh in people's minds. What went well, what didn't go well, how can we improve for next year? That starts already, doesn't it?
That'll start already. In fact, it'll probably start at our next fair board meeting. And yeah, it's going to be what went well, what didn't go well, how can we improve, what can we improve on, new ideas. Do we need to get rid of some things we've been doing? Are we okay with the contest? Should we get new contests? It's always it's a guessing game. You never know how things are going to turn out, and you hope for the best, and some things turn out for you and some things don't. And same with the weather. You always anticipate that you're going to have good weather and you plan for good weather, but sometimes that doesn't work in your favor also. I think this year we were fairly fortunate. We never got rained out during the day. That's always a good thing. We had a heavy rain that came in during the night. That made things kind of messy and sloppy, but the maintenance crew did a great job. They went and they cleaned up and they swept out all the water puddles and moved them so they would dry. So I was real proud of how my maintenance crew handled everything this year at the fair. They did a great job keeping it clean, and it was a lot of comments on that, on how well our buildings are kept up and how well the grounds look, and many comments about it's so nice to see that you have a fair staff that really cares about the fair to keep it looking good.
Well, what was it? Friday morning, we got somewhere around 2 inches of rain, and heck, by middle of the morning, it was like we were off like it hadn't even rained. And I parked in the parking lot that afternoon, the grass, and everybody was parking there. It's amazing, and it really helps in the carnival area, livestock buildings, a lot of asphalt. So boy, as soon as it quits raining, we get on about our business of having the fair.
Exactly so, and that's one of the unique things about our fairgrounds is, we have several pathways that are asphalt that the carnival is able to set up on, and people don't have to walk on the grass or the gravel between the stands, or the carnival games or the rides, and it's on asphalt, and that's one of the unique things about our fairground is that that we were able to do that many years ago, and it's worked out very well ever since. And you're right, mid-morning you can see very little evidence that it rained there.
Yeah, it's just amazing how so many people were working behind the scenes to pull that fair off. And if we were there early in the morning like we were, Saturday night I left the truck and tractor pull about 10 o'clock, and I was coming to the studio about 7:30, quarter to 8 the next morning, and I'd forgotten my sunglasses on the infield. So I thought, well, I'm driving right by, I wonder if it'll be open. So I swung in there. There was Jim Purvis with a big payloader getting set up already for the demo derby. Somebody else was there with a skid steer. There were 3 or 4 guys in the grandstand cleaning things up. I mean, a lot of people don't realize all this is going on.
Exactly so. That cleanup crew, they would start 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. When you get a full grandstand, there's trash, there's debris, and that all needs to be cleaned up for the next one, and that's something that needs to be done before all the fair goers get to the fair. So it is done behind the scenes, and like I said, I couldn't be prouder of all the individuals that step forward and do this, because they do a great job of it. They know what they're doing, and it looks great. I don't have to tell them anything, and it just works.
You know, with the fair talks in 2015, John, just before the market break, we were kind of saying hats off to all the volunteers that pull that fair off. And boy, there's a lot of them. Couldn't do it without people volunteering their time.
That's right. You know, all the volunteers that come out and volunteer, you know, they specialize in the areas they're in. Uh, some people volunteer more than others, but you know, you come out and you do what you can, and you know, that's all we can ask for, and that's all we can expect. And so I'm just very thankful that, you know, the volunteers that do come out, have my hats off to you, because you guys do a great job. I appreciate it. I can't say thank you enough to these people, because without you, this fair wouldn't be possible.
Well, we were talking too briefly about some of the things that go on behind the scenes that folks visiting the fair don't see. And well, another one, the situation that happened at the truck and tractor pull. We just barely gotten started. It was pretty warm and not a lot of breeze, and all at once the announcer was calling for the firemen and the paramedics because someone on the infield grandstands had passed out. There was a ambulance and the firemen right there.
That's right. You know, when we have these events, we do have an ambulance on staff. They come in and they are dispatched to the fair to just for those incidents. You know, so if something does happen, we have immediate medical attention, especially on the bigger shows. You know, like the bull riding. You know, where it's fairly dangerous for the participants, the tractor pull, and the demo derby. So you know, we have the ambulance. They're there for the whole time. And so, same with the fire department. You know, the fire department's there, so we have paramedics there, we have medical personnel there. So when these incidents do come up, you know, we've got it covered. And you know, you have to think safety, and you have to think safety in all aspects, and you have to be ready for an emergency. And that's just part of what we go through, just to make sure that we do have the right personnel there, and we don't have to. You know, so if we wouldn't have it there, you know, and we'd have to call 911, and then by the time they dispatch it, you know, there's probably 5-10 minutes that go by, and that could mean, you know, be a real critical situation, and it could be detrimental. So, you know, by having these personnel there, it helps out immensely, and it proved so when the other night. And the same with the command center. You know, we're so fortunate that we get the sheriff's department to bring their command center, and they have staff right there. So if there is an emergency, there's somebody there.
A weather event, whatever the case may be.
That's right. You know, and we've got a management, you know, emergency management plan in the office. You know, we've got a plan that we've gone over, and you know, everything is spelled out. You know, what our procedure is going to be, and you know, we work very closely with Sheriff Dunn last year, and we revised it and we've updated it, and so you know, people can rest assured when they come to the fair that, you know, we are up on top of everything.
Oh, after the truck and tractor pull, I did hear that wasn't anything serious. I'm not sure how official it was, but apparently it was somebody who just got dehydrated and passed out, and ironically then they put her in the ambulance to cool them off and start giving them some water, and it was about 5-10 minutes later another ambulance came, and then they took that other ambulance. Maybe they were taking it up to the ER just to be safe, to check out whoever it was, but they wanted to make sure, as long as it wasn't critical, to get that individual to the emergency room right away. They waited until the backup ambulance could get there, so there was always one there.
That's exactly right. And so, you know, we work with North Ambulance Service, and they're a good team here with our fair, and we just appreciate you know, their knowledge and their expertise, and you know, that's what they do, and I rely on them, and they always come through.
Ready for a funny story about Tara Langevin?
Sure.
We were going down, and Tamara wanted to put a video up on our website of Jerry driving the ag cab. So we were walking down toward the building, the children's barnyard with the ag cab, and a couple kids came tearing out from the east side of this building. And Tara must have had her fair board hat on, because she started saying, "Hey guys, don't cool out, you know, slow down, don't get hurt." A split second later, a great big steer came bolting out of the children's barnyard, went running through there, didn't get hurt, and it was pretty funny, I guess, because then he started to head straight north. So Tara took off angling one way, and I took off going the other. thinking that he was going to stop when he got to the grandstand and, you know, the fence west of the beer garden. And sure enough, we caught up with him there, each on one side, and then the trailers were there. And he just stood there about 6, 8 feet from me. So I started talking to him and hold my hand out and trying to, you know, inch up and get a little bit closer so I could get a hold of his halter. And he was just standing there looking at me. And we were having a nice conversation. And all at once, a couple of kids came bolting around the edge of the trailer, and he spooked, and he got between two trailers, and he was off again. Guess who caught him? He made the mistake of going down toward the command center and some of the sheriff's deputies, and there were some farm boys there that knew what they were doing, because they were able to get in front of him, and he stopped, and as soon as they got a hold of that halter, they wrapped it around the trailer hitch.
You know, and that just goes to show, you know, there's always that chance of something happening, and it happened. You know, the steer got away, and
it was a 4-H project, I'm sure. And
it was no, it actually came in for the we had the open class beef show, and it came in with the open class beef show. But it just goes to show, you know, that things can happen, and in a split second they can happen. And fortunately, nobody got hurt, nothing was destroyed, and you know, it had a good ending, you know, but, you know.
Well, part of it is all at once, people with some experience all jumped in to help.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but sometimes it could go the other way, you know, people without experience, and they can make the situation a lot worse. So we were fortunate there, and we were fortunate that nothing serious happened to it, and the steer was led back to the trailer, and didn't enter the show. They left it in the trailer, tied up, just so it wouldn't happen again, and we went on. And so, you know, you never know what's going to happen at the fair, and that's why you have all these plans in place to make things happen.
I know Gordy is going to ask me if I asked you, and I suspect I know what the answer is going to be. The only way we can really track attendance or what kind of year we had at the Rice County Fair is parking and grandstand and maybe the beer garden, some of those kinds of things. But usually it takes a few days to kind of get all those numbers tabulated, doesn't it, John?
It takes more than a few days. You know, it take a good, you know, month or two before, you know, all the bills are paid, and you know, people with their billing cycles, you know, sometimes they're late with getting bills to us. So you know, come, you know, at the end of the year, you know, finally October, November, you know, we'll have some pretty solid numbers. I know this, that you know, last year we had a phenomenal fair and we had record numbers. We didn't have that matching that this year, what we had last year. But I think when we look back over previous years, you know, our 2013 fair, I know our numbers were up from that fair. So, you know, I'm thinking safe to say that, you know, we probably had a little bit of above average fair.
Good solid fair again. Not a record maybe like last year.
Exactly. So the afternoons were a little short on people.
Yeah, I can't understand that, because I was out there all day Friday and Saturday, and I know the weather forecast was hyping about heat index of 95 or 97, but I was very comfortable because we had a nice breeze blowing, and but maybe some people thought, well, it's going to be a little hot, so I'm going to stay home.
Well, and you know, maybe on the other hand, maybe it's a nice weekend, you know, hey, let's go out to the lake, let's go out and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and you know, you never can predict, you know, what people are going to do, and so you know, we're just thankful we get what we get. I know the evenings were very good. We had a lot of people that came out, you know, for the late evening, you know, into the night. Our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday grandstands were full, what we expected, and so I was happy about that. So, you know, and after the grandstand shows get out, they go out into the midway, and so.
Or that other thing, some garden they call it. I forget what it's called.
Exactly. So you know, all in all, you know, I was happy with it. I think, you know, when you have a good year, it's awful hard to follow up the next year, because you're always expecting that you're going to break what you did in your good year, but we didn't. But I think when we look at it, the numbers are going to surprise us, and I think it's going to turn out to be a pretty good night.
It was a nice addition. I know you were sweating just a little bit. Last year it was with the Gillen exhibit building, and this year it was a historical society, but they got everything done just in the nick of time, didn't they?
They did, and everything worked out good there, and you know, that was a good addition, and I'm sure it's going to be a good addition for them. And You know, that historical society, they do a lot of good things at the fair. And a lot of people come out and have a good time, and they can look at yesteryear, and I had a lot of comments about it. And so, you know, hats off to them, and they need to be congratulated at, you know, what they accomplished there.
One of my favorites, the Rice County Agriculture Hall of Fame program that Wednesday morning. We had a really nice crowd there for breakfast, and that's just been a really nice addition to the fair, kind of celebrate agriculture on Wednesday morning at the Rice County Fair.
It is, and I think people look forward to it, and you know, they come out and they have a breakfast, and the Farm Bureau, we're so gracious that they come out and provide that for us. And there's a lot of people that do a lot of work to make that happen.
And the Senior Citizens Program, an outstanding senior citizen. Maybe someone is thinking, gee, I was at this county fair and they do this, and maybe we should add that to the Rice County Fair. Well, maybe now's the time to bring that idea forward so we have some time to organize it.
Exactly so. Exactly so. And you know, and all the programs I thought went real well, and so you know, there had been something out there for everybody, and I'm sure there was, and I'm just hoping that people took advantage of it and enjoyed what they went out there to.
Welcome back to the final edition of Fair Talk 2015 and the final segment. John Dvorak is the Rice County Fair Manager, and John, we spent a lot of time talking about all the volunteers, but we better mention all of the sponsors too. It was kind of fun walking around, lots of banners, lots of things. Sponsors getting credit for supporting things at the fair.
They do, and you know, the sponsors are really what help make everything happen there at the Rice County Fair. Whether they sponsor in the premium book or different facets of the fair. A lot of my big sponsors are for the grandstand shows. That's where a lot of the sponsorship comes in, and this year, unfortunately, I did make a mistake with one of my sponsors, and I apologize to him, but Mike Miller over at Kelly Auto was a big sponsor of mine, and I put him down as sponsoring the wrong event.
Oops.
Than what he did. I really truly apologize. Mike was a big sponsor for the truck and tractor pull. Mike, I appreciate you sponsoring that, and I apologize that I put you down that you were a sponsor of the Demo Derby instead. So I do apologize to you, but you know, guys, when you come out and visit Kelly Auto Parts, thank Mike for sponsoring that great event, because without guys like Mike that do sponsor that, you know, it would make it a little bit more difficult to bring that entertaining event to the grandstand. So my hat's off to you, Mike, for being a sponsor for us, and like I said, I can't apologize enough to you.
Well, next time, well, actually, I don't get out there, but I have some parts on a couple of my cars from Kelly Auto Parts. Wholesale Tire might figure out what I need, and then they go over there and get the part.
Exactly so. So we're grateful for the for you know, having all of our sponsors, and without them, you know, it would be a little more difficult to put the fair on.
Now, it really is fun to hear them getting their recognition at the fair.
It is, and it was just something that was overlooked, and that happens, and you don't like it to happen, but it happened, and what more can I say?
Now, we really enjoyed our spot where we've been for decades there at the exhibit building. We're very close to the Cardinal Cafe and not far from our good buddy Kevin Eastrom at the Rice County Pork Producers food stand, and then it's always nice having the entertainment and the stage behind us.
It is, and you know, we're so fortunate that we do have that stage. A few years ago, that stage was renamed, and I did get some calls from the family wanting to know why it was, and I've looked into what's happened with that, and the Seldner stage. I'm going to go back to the board and recommend that Seldner stage name be put back onto that stage, and once I get the board approval, that will be the Seldner stage again. And this took me a little bit of investigating what I needed to investigate, and but that stage, with the board approval, will go back to the Seldner stage.
It was a Seldner stage and then changed before you were involved as a fair manager and doing a little checking, then you found out that it shouldn't have been changed.
Exactly so. So
we're going to go back and undo it, of course, with the board approval.
Correct. And so it just, you know, something that needs to be done, and that'll take place. And so, you know, and then along with all the sponsors and everybody else, you know, we have the fair board members that put a lot of effort into the fair. I just want to thank all of the family and the spouses, and I call them the fair board widows that
and widowers, yeah.
and widowers, because really these people that come out, they're there day and night, from morning till night, and I'm sure they see very little of their family. It's the whole week that they are out there, and I just want to say thank you to all the families that allow their spouses and family members to be out there and making sure that this fair gets pulled off. And I want to give a special thanks to my wife, because for the last 2 weeks we've seen very little of each other. And
you better take her out to dinner here one of these nights now.
And so I just want to say thank you to my wife Bernie, because she's been supporting me and helping me with this job, and you know, it's nice to have her support, and it's nice to have the support of all the families that allow their spouses to be part of the fair board.
I can think of another instance though where both are involved and the rest of the family involved in the fair.
Exactly. So, you know, for some of them it's a family event, and you know, and I'm just so thankful for it. And you know, I could go on and on and on and name people that make it possible, and once I start doing that, you know, I'm going to forget somebody that I shouldn't forget. But you know, between the fair board members, the maintenance crews, all the volunteers that make the Rice County Fair a big success, my hat's off to you. I thank you, and all of the fairgoers, thank you.
We only have about a minute and a half left, but wanted to point in, if you have some ideas on how we can do things a little bit better, your ears are always open, aren't they? Now's the time when it's fresh in your mind, so we can make it bigger and better in 2016.
Yeah, and we do, and you know, you can comment, you can send me emails, you can comment on Facebook, you know. We do take all of our suggestions, people suggest, we do listen to all of them, we do read all of them, but you have to remember, you know, we get a lot of suggestions and a lot of ideas, and some of them work and some of them don't, and you know, don't be offended if you have a suggestion and it doesn't fit into what we do, but you know, we're always welcoming suggestions.
And if you wanted an excuse to be at the fair more, become a volunteer.
Exactly.
Or
you
a
know,
board member.
Or a board member. We would gladly take people onto the board and with some fresh ideas, and you know, so I guess you know, it's sad to say, but 2015 fair is over, and Jerry, I've had a lot of fun coming in and talking with you in the mornings,
and abusing me at the fair all week.
And abusing you at the fair all week, and but you know, time goes, and I look forward to next year, and we'll do this again next year.
Thanks, John. Look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you very much.